The sun is disappearing behind the mountains. The temperature is dropping fast. A stick-figure prehistoric mother clutches her 2 children close to her chest. Their bellies are empty, their teeth are chattering. The darkness is coming, and the real nightmare is about to begin. All in million years ago, our ancestors faced a terrifying reality. Every single night they entered a battle they couldn't see coming. The same darkness that brought rest also brought death, and the solution they discovered changed human history forever. But here's the question that scientists have only recently answered. Why did ancient humans sleep next to fire every single night? Was it simply for warmth? Or was something far more dangerous lurking in the shadows? For millions of years before fire, our ancestors were prey, not predators. Prey. Every night when the sun vanished, a different world awakened. A world where humans were not at the top of the food chain. The fossil record tells a brutal story. Ancient human bones discovered in caves show teeth marks from creatures that hunted us in our sleep. We were easy targets. Then something extraordinary happened. Somewhere between 1.5 million and 1 million years ago, our ancestors discovered fire. But here's what most people don't understand. The discovery of fire wasn't just about cooking food. It was about survival against the deadliest predator of all. The one that came every single night, the one that humans could never see coming. And the solution was so simple, so brilliant, that it redefined what it meant to be human. But here's where the story takes a surprising turn. Scientists recently discovered that ancient humans didn't just use fire for protection, used it for something far more profound, something that changed the very structure of our brains. And the evidence is hiding in our DNA. When our ancestors started sleeping next to fire, something remarkable happened inside their bodies. Something that would eventually make us who we are today. Think about what it feels like to walk through your house in complete darkness. Your heart races, your breathing quickens, every sound makes you jump. Now imagine that feeling multiplied by 1,000. Every single night, our ancestors lived in constant fear of the darkness. They knew with absolute certainty that something was watching, something with teeth, something hungry, and it was only a matter of time before it found them. Then came the fire, and suddenly everything changed. For the first time in human history, our ancestors could see in the dark. They could keep the predators away. They could sleep without fear. But here's the most fascinating discovery scientists have made. This change didn't just affect our survival. It affected our dreams, our memories, our very consciousness. The fire didn't just keep us safe, it rewired our brains. But sleeping next to fire did something else, something even more profound. It brought our ancestors together. They shared stories, they developed language, they formed the first real communities. The campfire became the center of human existence, and this simple change created something that had never existed before in the natural world. However, there was a terrible downside. Fire was a living thing. It needed to be fed, it needed to be protected, and if it went out, the consequences were catastrophic. Ancient tribes had to keep their fires burning at all times. They couldn't afford to let them die. If the fire went out, the predators would come, and the tribe would face a nightmare worse than anything they had experienced before. This is why ancient humans developed such a deep connection to fire. It wasn't just a tool, it was a sacred protector. It was the difference between life and death. And they treated it with the reverence it deserved. Tribes would assign specific members to watch the fire through the night. They would carry burning embers when they traveled. They would fight to protect their fire from rain and wind. The flame was more valuable than gold. It was the source of their existence. Recently, scientists made a shocking discovery. They studied the sleep patterns of modern hunter-gatherer tribes and found something remarkable. Humans are biologically designed to sleep next to fire. Our bodies have evolved to feel safe in the presence of flame. The flickering light calms our nervous system. The warmth reduces our stress hormones. The sound of crackling fire triggers deep relaxation. Our ancestors didn't just choose to sleep next to fire, they needed to. Their survival depended on it, and our bodies still remember. But here's what truly fascinated researchers. Ancient humans who slept next to fire developed better memories. They processed their experiences more deeply. The light of the fire allowed them to see each other's faces, to read each other's emotions, to form deeper bonds. This simple act of sleeping together around a flame created the foundation for empathy, for cooperation, for civilization itself, and the evidence is hidden in the way our brains still respond to fire today. The worst danger wasn't even the predators, it was the cold. When night fell, temperatures would drop dramatically. Without fire, our ancestors would freeze. Their bodies would shut down, their children would die in their arms. The fire wasn't just protection, it was warmth, it was life. And the tribes that didn't learn to use fire effectively simply didn't survive. Their bones are scattered across the ancient world, silent testimony to the brutal reality of prehistoric life. Imagine being a prehistoric mother. You have 3 children. The fire is dying, the wood is wet. The predators are circling, and you must make a choice. Do you risk leaving your children to find wood? Do you stay and let the fire die? Do you hope that tonight will be different? These were the impossible choices our ancestors faced every single night. And the mothers who made the right choices passed on their genes. The ones who didn't simply disappeared. Every tribe had its firekeepers. These were the people responsible for maintaining the flame. They knew exactly how much wood to add. They could predict when the fire needed attention. They could sense danger before it arrived. These were the most valued members of any tribe. They held the power of life and death in their hands, and they were treated with the respect that power deserved. Their knowledge was passed down through generations, shaping human evolution. But there was another benefit to sleeping next to fire. Our ancestors could cook. Cooking food made it safer to eat. It released more nutrients. It gave our ancestors more energy. And that energy went straight to their brains. The human brain is incredibly expensive to maintain. It needs massive amounts of energy to function. Without cooked food, our brains would have never grown to their current size. And it all started around a simple campfire. And then came the rain. Every tribe experienced it, a sudden storm that threatened to extinguish their fire. The rain would come without warning. The wind would howl through the night, and the tribe would have to fight to protect their flame. If they lost the fire, they lost everything. The predators would come, the cold would come, and the tribe would be forced to flee. It was the most terrifying experience any ancient human could face. The elders remembered. They remembered the times when the fire had gone out. They remembered the screams, the terror, the bodies of those who didn't survive, and they taught the young ones the most important lesson of all. The fire is life. Never let it die. Always keep it burning. Always keep it safe. This lesson was drilled into every child from the moment they could understand. And it created a fundamental human instinct that we still carry today. The psychological impact of sleeping next to fire cannot be overstated. It changed the way our ancestors thought. It changed the way they felt. It gave them hope. It gave them courage. It gave them the ability to face the darkness with confidence. Without fire, our ancestors were prey. With fire, they became the most successful predators in history. This transformation wasn't just physical. It was psychological. It was emotional. It was spiritual. Today, you will probably not sleep next to a fire. You have central heating, you have locks on your doors, you have modern security, but the ancient instinct remains. There is a reason why you feel relaxed when you sit in front of a fireplace. There is a reason why candles create comfort. There is a reason why the flickering light makes you feel safe. Your body remembers. Your body knows what your ancestors knew. Fire is protection. Fire is life. Fire is home. Here is the most remarkable discovery scientists have made. When ancient humans started sleeping next to fire, their life expectancy increased dramatically. They survived longer, they grew older, they passed down more knowledge, and this created a feedback loop. The more they used fire, the smarter they became. The smarter they became, the better they used fire. And this cycle continued for hundreds of thousands of years. It created the foundation for everything we are today, but maintaining the fire was exhausting. It required constant attention. It required constant work. The tribe members would take turns throughout the night, watching the flames, adding wood, staying awake. This shared burden created a sense of purpose. It gave everyone a role. It strengthened the bonds between tribe members. And it developed something that would become one of humanity's greatest strengths: cooperation. The ability to work together toward a shared goal. But sometimes, despite their best efforts, the fire would still go out, and when it happened, it was a tragedy beyond measure. The tribe would face the most difficult choice of their existence: stay and risk certain death, or flee into the unknown. The ones who stayed usually didn't survive. The ones who fled started over, with nothing, in a world full of dangers. It was the most desperate situation any ancient human could imagine. Yet somehow, life found a way. The tribes that survived developed new strategies. They would carry fire with them wherever they went. They would hide embers in hollowed-out logs. They would protect the fire at any cost. And their resilience created something extraordinary. The survivors passed on their knowledge, their courage, their determination, and these traits became part of who we are. The ancient firekeepers were more than just survivors. They were the ancestors of every human on Earth. Modern million years ago, ancient humans slept next to fire every single night, for one reason: survival. But that was just the beginning. A fire gave them safety, it gave them warmth, it gave them community, and it gave them the ability to dream, to imagine, to create. It was the spark that ignited our entire civilization. Without fire, we would still be prey. But with fire, we became something more. We became the dominant species on this planet. Every time you light a candle, every time you sit by a fireplace, every time you feel that inexplicable sense of comfort when you see a flame, you are connecting with your ancestors. You are remembering their struggle, their triumph, their survival. The fire that kept them alive 1,000,000 years ago still burns inside you. It is the fire of resilience, the fire of courage, the fire of humanity. And as long as there is fire, we will never truly be alone. 1,000,000 years ago, our ancestors slept next to fire every night. It was a simple act, but it changed everything. It gave us life, it gave us hope, and it gave us the courage to face the darkness. The fire is still burning, and as long as it does, the story of humanity will continue. You are a part of that story, a part of that fire. And the next time you see a flame, remember, you are looking at the very spark that made us human. The night watch was sacred. Every evening, as the last light faded, the tribe would gather round the flame. They would share their final meal, they would tell their final stories, and they would prepare for the darkness. The firekeeper would take their position, the children would be placed closest to the warmth, the hunters would face outward, watching for danger, and the tribe would surrender themselves to the fire's protection. And then came the dreams. For the first time in human history, our ancestors could sleep deeply. They could enter the dream world without fear. The fire kept the predators away, the warmth kept the cold at bay, and the safety allowed their minds to wander. Some scientists believe that this deep sleep changed everything. It allowed our ancestors to process their experiences, to learn from their mistakes, to imagine a better future. Dreams became the birthplace of human creativity. The transformation was happening inside their skulls. The human brain was growing. It was developing new connections, new abilities, new ways of thinking. The fire was literally rewiring our ancestors' minds. And the evidence is astonishing. Scientists study the brains of modern humans. They find that our brains are specifically adapted to fire. We have evolved to process the light, the heat, the comfort. It is woven into our very biology. But here is the most incredible part. The fire created language. Around the campfire, our ancestors could see each other's faces. They could read each other's expressions. They could share emotions. They could tell stories. And over time, these stories became more complex. The firelight allowed for the development of facial recognition. It allowed for empathy. It allowed for understanding. Without fire, language would have remained simple. With fire, it became sophisticated. Every child learned the same lesson: never touch the fire. The elders would teach them with patience and fear. They would show them the scars of those who had been burned. They would tell them stories of children who had wandered too close, and the children would learn. They would learn to respect the fire, to fear the fire, to love the fire. This lesson was the most important they would ever learn. Their survival depended on it. Knowledge of fire was passed down through generations. Grandmothers taught their daughters, grandfathers taught their sons, the secrets of starting a fire, the secrets of keeping it alive, the secrets of protecting it from the elements. This knowledge was more valuable than anything else. It was the legacy of the tribe, and the tribe that lost this knowledge would not survive. The elders guarded this wisdom with their lives. It was their gift to the future. The fire had a heartbeat. It pulsed and flickered, it breathed and sighed, and our ancestors learned to read its rhythms. A loud crack meant something had changed. A sudden flame meant the fire was hungry. A dying glow meant danger was near. They learned to listen to the fire. They learned to understand its language, and this connection created something almost mystical. The fire was alive, and it was their protector. Knowledge of fire was passed down through generations. Grandmothers taught their daughters, grandfathers taught their sons, the secrets of starting a fire, the secrets of keeping it alive, the secrets of protecting it from the elements. This knowledge was more valuable than anything else. It was the legacy of the tribe, and the tribe that lost this knowledge would not survive. The elders guarded this wisdom with their lives. It was their gift to the future. The fire had a heartbeat. It pulsed and flickered. It breathed and sighed, and our ancestors learned to read its rhythms. A loud crack meant something had changed. A sudden flame meant the fire was hungry. A dying glow meant danger was near. They learned to listen to the fire. They learned to understand its language. And this connection created something almost mystical. The fire was alive, and it was their protector. But the worst storm wasn't the rain, it was the wind. A sudden gust could snuff out a fire in seconds. It could blow the embers into the tribe's shelters. It could turn the protector into the destroyer. Our ancestors feared the wind more than anything else. They would build windbreaks. They would dig trenches. They would create barriers, and still sometimes the wind would win, and the tribe would lose everything. There were times when the fire demanded sacrifice. The wood had to be gathered. The branches had to be broken. The trees had to be cut, and this work was dangerous. It took the tribe into the wilderness, into the territory of predators, into the unknown. Sometimes tribe members would be injured. Sometimes they would not return. The fire was a demanding master, but it was also a generous one. The price was high, the reward was life. Every tribe experienced their final night. The night when the fire went out, the night when the predators came, the night when everything changed. The survivors would carry the memory of that night forever. They would tell their children about it. They would tell their grandchildren, and they would never ever let it happen again. The final night was a warning, a reminder of what could happen, a lesson that could never be forgotten. And then came the dawn. A new fire was lit. A new tribe was born. The survivors carried the knowledge forward. They taught the next generation. They built a new home. They created a new life. The fire had been extinguished, but the spirit of the fire had never died. It lived in them. It burned in their hearts. It guided their actions, and it ensured that humanity would survive. No matter what, today you still carry that fire. It burns in your heart when you face challenges. It guides you through the darkness. It protects you from the cold. The ancient instinct is still there. You are the descendant of those who survived the final night. You are the child of the fire keepers. You are the legacy of the eternal flame. And every time you overcome a challenge, you are honoring their sacrifice, their struggle, their survival. So now you know, 1 million years ago, ancient humans slept next to fire every single night because they had to. It was survival, it was protection, it was warmth, it was life itself. But their choice created something far greater than survival. It created humanity. It created civilization. It created you. And the question now is this: what fire are you carrying? What flame are you protecting for the generations to come? The answer is simple. You are carrying the fire of knowledge, the fire of love, the fire of resilience, and you will pass it on to your children, to your grandchildren, to the generations that will come after you. The fire has been burning for 1,000,000 years, and it will continue to burn, because that is what humans do. We protect the flame, we nurture the flame, we become the flame. And that is the true story of why ancient humans slept next to fire every single night. One more thing. The next time you sit by a campfire with your family, pay attention. Look at the faces of your loved ones in the firelight. Listen to their stories. Feel the warmth on your skin. You are experiencing exactly what your ancestors experienced 1,000,000 years ago. The fire brings you together. The fire makes you human. And the fire will always be there, waiting for you to return home. The fire was more than protection. It was the heart of the family, the mother's gentle hand, the father's watchful eyes, the elder's grateful heart. Every night, the tribe gathered around the flame, not just for warmth, but for connection. The children learned by watching. The elders taught by showing, and the fire witnessed it all. It saw the love, it saw the sacrifice, it saw the hope. And in the morning, when the fire still burned, the tribe knew they had survived another night, together,